Margaret was 68, energetic, active, and proud of her daily breakfast routine. Every morning, she had her eggs, boiled, scrambled, or fried, believing she was fueling her body with the perfect protein. But what she didn't know was that the way she handled those eggs was slowly hurting her health. Not because eggs are bad, but because of simple, everyday mistakes that turn a healthy food into a hidden danger. And the shocking part? Almost every senior over 60 is making at least one of them, often without realizing it. In this video, you'll discover the 7 most common egg mistakes that can quietly weaken your body, ruin digestion, and even raise your risk of infection or heart problems. We'll count them down from number 7 to number 1, the deadliest. And mistake number 4, doubles your heart risk if you're over 60, yet most people have been doing it for decades. Before we dive in, tell me in the comments, how do you usually eat your eggs? Fried, boiled, or scrambled? I'll be reading and replying, and you might be surprised by what others share too. Now, let's start with mistake number 7, the one that looks delicious but can send you to the hospital overnight. 7. Eating runny eggs with a weak immune system. That golden runny yolk looks rich and appetizing, but behind that soft texture could be something deadly. Salmonella enteritidis, a bacteria that hides inside the egg long before the shell forms. For most healthy adults, that might just mean an upset stomach. But for seniors, it can mean sepsis. When bacteria enter the bloodstream, and sometimes it's fatal. The CDC reports over 23,000 hospitalizations every year due to salmonella, and older adults are one of the most at-risk groups. Picture this. Margaret, now 72, loved dipping toast into her soft-boiled eggs every morning. One morning, she ended up in the ER with fever and chills. The cause? Those perfect runny yolks she thought were harmless. Here's the science made simple. Salmonella dies only when eggs reach 160 degrees Fahrenheit, 71 degrees Celsius inside. Runny yolks never hit that temperature, which means every bite is a gamble. And since stomach acid naturally decreases with age, bacteria that would have been destroyed in your 30s now slip right through. The fix. Cook eggs until the yolk is firm. Scrambled, hard-boiled, or fully fried. If you truly love runny yolks, use pasteurized eggs. They're gently heated during processing to kill bacteria while keeping that soft texture. Runny eggs may look gourmet, but for seniors, they're a ticking time bomb. Mistake number 6, storing eggs near strong-smelling foods. Most people think the fridge keeps eggs safe from everything, but here's what almost no one realizes. Eggshells are porous. Each shell has up to 17,000 tiny holes, allowing smells and even bacteria to seep through. When you store eggs next to onions, garlic, fish, or strong cheese, you're not just ruining the flavor, you're also exposing them to moisture and microbes that can quietly contaminate your breakfast. In one Journal of Food Protection study, eggs stored near raw fish developed higher bacterial counts in just 3 days. That means your fridge could be turning fresh eggs into a petri dish without you knowing it. Betty, 76, always kept her eggs right above chopped onions. She noticed a strange smell, but assumed it was the onion itself. 2 weeks later, she was in the ER with food poisoning. Her doctor said the odor compounds and bacteria had actually passed through the eggshell. The fix: keep eggs in their original carton, away from strong-smelling or raw foods. Store them in the coldest part of the fridge, not on the door, like where the temperature fluctuates. The carton acts as a barrier that protects freshness and blocks both odor and bacteria. It's a simple step, but it prevents both nutrient loss and contamination. 5. Reheating boiled eggs in the microwave. It sounds harmless, right? You boil a batch of eggs, keep them in the fridge, and just pop one into the microwave for 20 seconds. But that quick fix can turn into a dangerous accident. When a boiled egg is microwaved, steam builds up inside the egg white and yolk. Since the shell and structure trap that pressure, it has nowhere to escape until it suddenly explodes. Sometimes on your plate, sometimes in your hand, and sometimes right in your mouth. A Journal of Food Science study found that reheated boiled eggs can reach internal pressures high enough to make the yolk burst violently. For seniors, that can mean serious burns, blistered skin, or eye injuries, especially if you bite into one. Take Harold, 72. He microwaved his egg for just a few seconds. When he took a bite, it burst like a firecracker, burning his lips and tongue. What looked like a harmless shortcut ended with a hospital visit and weeks of recovery. And beyond the explosion risk, microwaves heat unevenly, altering proteins and making eggs rubbery and hard to digest. That's especially tough for seniors with weaker stomach acid or slower digestion. The fix: if you want warm eggs, slice and reheat them gently in a pan over low heat, or place the peeled egg in hot water for a few minutes. You'll get a warm, soft result without the danger. Microwaving boiled eggs might look like a time saver, but for older adults, it's a hazard hiding in plain sight. 4. Washing eggs before storing them. This one surprises almost everyone. You bring eggs home, give them a quick rinse, and think you're being clean and careful. But that simple act can actually make them more dangerous. Here's why. Every egg is naturally coated with a thin protective layer called the bloom or cuticle. It seals the shell's pores and keeps out bacteria like salmonella. When you wash eggs, especially under warm water, and that layer gets stripped away, the result? Those tiny pores become open doors for bacteria and moisture to enter. Inside your fridge, those germs quietly multiply, even in cold temperatures. A poultry science study found that washed eggs were 10 times more likely to test positive for salmonella than unwashed ones. For seniors, that's a serious risk. Infections last longer, recovery takes more time, and dehydration can become dangerous fast. Ellen, 74, always rinsed her eggs before storing them. A week later, she and her husband were both sick, and lab tests confirmed salmonella from those washed eggs. The fix: never wash eggs before putting them in the fridge. Keep them in their original carton, which protects from moisture and temperature changes. If an egg looks dirty, wipe it gently before cooking, not before storing. Washing eggs might feel like good hygiene, but for seniors, it's actually one of the most overlooked food safety traps. 3. Cooking eggs in scratched nonstick pans. For years, nonstick pans have been praised as the easiest way to cook eggs. But when that surface gets scratched, the story changes completely. Scratched Teflon can release PFAS, toxic forever chemicals that don't leave the body. These compounds are linked to liver damage, thyroid issues, and even weakened immunity. A 2020 environmental science and technology study found that a single scratched pan could release billions of microplastic-like particles into food. For older adults, that's especially dangerous because aging livers and kidneys can't detoxify chemicals as efficiently. Over time, those toxins build up, silently stressing your body. Doris, 68, thought her old pan was still fine. Just a few scratches. But after years of daily use, she began feeling constantly tired and sluggish. Her doctor later linked it to chemical exposure, likely from her cookware. The fix: if your pan is scratched, throw it out immediately. Switch to stainless steel, ceramic, or cast iron. They're durable, non-toxic, and last for decades if used right. And never preheat an empty nonstick pan. It breaks down the coating faster and releases fumes. Cooking eggs in a scratched pan might feel convenient, but for your long-term health, it's not worth the risk. 2. Eating eggs without cooking them properly. Raw or undercooked eggs might look fresh and natural, but they can quietly carry salmonella, a bacteria that causes food poisoning, and it's especially dangerous for seniors. Some people like soft yolks or runny whites, but at older ages, our immune systems respond slower. Even a mild infection can lead to dehydration, weakness, and longer recovery times. A Centers for Disease Control report found that adults over 65 are 5 times more likely to be hospitalized from foodborne illness than younger people. Take a simple example. Charles, 71, loved dipping his toast into a runny egg every morning. One week, he felt tired, nauseous, and weak. It turned out his eggs weren't fully cooked, and bacteria had slipped through unnoticed. The fix: cook eggs until both the whites and yolks are firm. That's when the internal temperature hits about 160 degrees, 70 degrees. Hot enough to kill bacteria, but still keep the egg tender. If you love soft yolks, try pasteurized eggs. They're safe even when lightly cooked. Remember, raw eggs may look pure and natural, but at our age, it's smarter to enjoy them cooked and safe. Mistake number 1: Thinking eggs alone are enough for protein. Eggs are a wonderful source of protein, no question. But relying only on eggs for daily protein can quietly work against your goals. Here's why. As we age, our bodies absorb protein less efficiently. Muscles break down faster, and recovery takes longer. So even though one egg has about 6 grams of protein, our bodies might only use part of it, especially without enough variety in our diet. A Journal of Nutrition and Health and Aging study found that seniors who ate a mix of proteins, from eggs, seeds, beans, and dairy, had stronger muscles and better balance than those who relied on a single source. Mary, 75, used to eat 2 eggs for breakfast every morning, and that was it. She thought she was getting all the protein she needed. But after adding chia seeds, cottage cheese, and lentils into her meals, she noticed more energy and less fatigue. The fix: keep your eggs, but pair them with variety. Add a spoon of Greek yogurt, sprinkle some flaxseed, or enjoy beans at lunch. That combination supports stronger muscles, better digestion, and a more balanced metabolism as you age. Eggs are an amazing foundation, but they're most powerful when part of a team. Final thoughts. Eggs are one of nature's best gifts, full of protein, vitamins, and easy to prepare. But just like any food, how you handle them makes all the difference. From washing and reheating to cooking and storing, every small habit can quietly shape your long-term health. If you avoid these 7 mistakes, you'll not only protect yourself from hidden risks, you'll also make the most out of every meal you enjoy. And if you found these tips helpful, remember to subscribe for more simple, science-backed advice to help you live stronger, longer, and healthier, one small change at a time.